Sound familiar? The status of an incoming invoice is unclear. A colleague is on leave or sick and processing stalls, and the overview of open purchase orders and upcoming payments gets lost in the sheer volume of documents. This is exactly where the Cockpit, the incoming invoice register, helps. With 30 years of experience and over 1,300 customers as a trusted SAP partner, this presentation shows you how the Cockpit gives you a complete and always transparent overview of the entire invoice process. Specifically, in this demonstration, we will show you the following key features and walk you through each of them step by step, so you can see how the complete process works in practice. What transparency and functions the Cockpit gives us for a complete overview of the process. How to address substitutes when a colleague is absent, so processing never stalls. What interventions we can make in the process according to our rights in SAP. The option to move to subordinate levels. Let's go to the SAP. We start the Cockpit and immediately see the options to filter the invoices. This allows us to filter the invoices using different filter criteria and choose exactly which type of invoices we want to display, whether they are based on a barcode, a document type, or any other available selection criteria. In our case, we select today's date to display all the invoices that have arrived in our system today, making it easy to find and review the documents that have just been received. Today, 7 invoices have arrived, and they are currently in different stages of processing. For example, this invoice has already been posted successfully, while the other invoices are still progressing through the workflow and are waiting for the next processing or approval step. This one is waiting for the posting. This visual overview allows us to easily track the progress of the workflow and clearly understand the current status of every incoming invoice. At a glance, we can see exactly where each invoice is in the process and whether any further action is required. Now, let's look at the information in each column. For example, here we can see the barcode, the scanning date, the reference, the vendor name, as well as the invoice date, the net amount, the total amount, and the taxes. We can also see which user is currently responsible for processing a given invoice, making it easy to identify who has the next action in the workflow and where the invoice is currently assigned. Let's click here, and we can see the people that are authorized to work with this invoice. Using the menu bar at the top, the user has full control over the process. From here, all the important actions are easily accessible, allowing the user to manage the workflow efficiently. For example, you can view the invoice, you can approve an invoice directly, you can check whether an invoice has been paid or received. You can post an invoice under full control. Let's take a look at one of the invoices we received today. We can open it in 2 ways, by double-clicking or via button in the menu above. The choose is yours. As soon as we select the invoice, biz²DocumentControl opens. There is a separate presentation for it, so here we will only show you a few things briefly. Here we can see the information that was automatically read and extracted from the invoice by the OCR recognition process, including the relevant invoice details. Here you can add comments to inform the next person in the workflow and draw attention to important details of the invoice. The information will now be forwarded to the next user responsible for processing the invoice, together with the comment we have added, so they have all the necessary details and context to continue with the next step in the workflow. Now I can continue with the next step in the workflow and select the appropriate person who will be responsible for processing the invoice further and taking the next required action in the approval process. Once we send it, we can see that the specific user who will process the invoice has already been designated. You can also redirect workflows. Let's imagine that a colleague is unavailable because of illness or has too many tasks and cannot process the invoices within the required time. In this case, you can easily forward a single invoice or even a complete group of invoices to another user within the company. This ensures that the workflow continues smoothly without unnecessary delays or interruptions, keeping the entire approval process running efficiently and without affecting the overall processing time. Let me show you now how we can perform this action step by step. We've already selected the invoice that we want to forward to another user within the workgroup. To continue, we simply need to choose the Forward option and then specify the new recipient who will be responsible for the next step in the workflow. Now, the person is changed and the process can continue. You can also send a reminder email to the relevant colleague. For example, please complete the process of the invoice by the end of the week. We can send this email by navigating to the menu bar at the top and selecting the Reminder Email option, which allows us to quickly forward the required information directly to the recipient. Control over the process is transparent and intuitive, which makes the works easy, faster, and reliable. Another way to work with this volume of data is a separate liquidity report. Let's go there very quickly and select the Scanning Date option. In this case, we choose today's date to display the invoices that have arrived in the system. And it shows the liquidity volume, the basis of the relevant account, and which account is due to be settled. Since we specified today's date, our table will display only the invoices that are currently being processed as of today. For example, if we have an outgoing cash flow of around €2,000 expected over the coming days, we can prioritize certain invoices and decide which ones should be processed first, helping us to better manage the upcoming payments and cash flow planning. Now we can go ahead and take a closer look at the overview of tasks assigned to each individual user, which in the system is called Work Items. This section provides a complete overview of all currently assigned activities, allowing users to easily track responsibilities, monitor the progress of tasks, and understand which actions are still pending within the workflow. It also helps users quickly identify the current workload and ensure that every invoice is processed by the right person at the right time. Here we can see the user currently responsible for processing the invoice, as well as the corresponding workflow group. Let me show you. We can check in detail, for example, how many invoices are with a specific processing user. I will go into my user. Here you can see how many invoices I currently have to process. This makes the overall process more efficient and allows us to structure and organize the internal workflow in a clear and transparent way. We return to the cockpit once again to take a closer look and draw attention to invoices that have open purchase orders linked to them. This allows us to quickly identify these invoices and better understand which documents require further review or processing. Here we have an invoice that includes a reference to a specific order number. If we click directly on the purchase order number, the system will take us straight to the corresponding order, where we can view all related details and information directly within the system. With the cockpit, you always keep full control of your incoming invoices from arrival to payment, with no delays caused by absences or lack of transparency. Ready to optimize your SAP processes and manage your incoming invoices with full transparency? Join our success story and benefit from 30 years of experience. Contact us today. You will find a link to our website and more detailed information in the description below.